Today we adopted our opinions on the draft budgetary plans for the euro area member states. We have also taken decisions under the significant deviation procedure for Hungary and Romania, and we adopted the fourth enhanced surveillance report for Greece. Let me start with the good news. For the first time since 2002, no euro area member state is in the excessive deficit procedure. Aggregate debt for the euro area is falling. 9 countries show nominal surpluses. 9 countries are expected to be at or above their medium-term budgetary objectives. This is overall a positive picture. It's a result of good efforts member states have made, but it's also thanks to the tailwinds they have enjoyed from the economic expansion in the euro area. Now, not so good news. First, we see weakening of the European and world economies. Europe has experienced a sharp slowdown in exports and a contraction in manufacturing. Second, the overall positive fiscal assessment masks important differences across member states, both in terms of the budgetary situation they face and in terms of their budgetary plans. We have found that 9 countries, Germany, Ireland, Greece, Cyprus, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands and Austria, are compliant with the requirements of the Stability and Growth Pact. 2 countries, Estonia and Latvia, are broadly compliant, and 8 countries, Belgium, Spain, France, Italy, Portugal, Slovenia, Slovakia and Finland, are at the risk of non-compliance. We invite all member states that are at risk of non-compliance with the Stability and Growth Pact to take necessary measures within their national budgetary process to ensure that their 2020 budget will be compliant with the Stability and Growth Pact. Among the budgetary plans found at risk of non-compliance, the ones which concern us most are those with high debt levels and where we do not see them being reduced fast enough. So Belgium, Spain and France have very high debt to GDP ratios at almost 100% of GDP. Italy exceeds 136% of GDP, and these countries are not expected to meet the debt rule. These 4 countries have not sufficiently used favourable economic times to put their public finances in order. In 2020, they plan either no meaningful fiscal adjustment or even fiscal expansion. This is worrying because very high debt levels limit the capacity to respond to economic shocks and market pressures. Belgium and Spain, which submitted budgetary plans based on no policy change scenario, have been invited to submit updated plans in compliance with the SGP. Of the other 4 countries at risk of non-compliance, Slovakia and Finland have a debt to GDP ratio below 60% of GDP, and Portugal and Slovenia are expected to meet the debt rule. All 4 countries have budgetary balances that provide a sizable margin to the 3% of GDP threshold. However, these 4 countries are also found not progressing fast enough towards their medium-term objective. Slovakia has taken additional measures after the submission of a draft budgetary plan, which allowed to avoid a significant deviation in 2020. So the risk of significant deviation is manifest when the years 2019 and 2020 are taken together due to the fiscal slippages this year. Slovenia has a nominal surplus, and given the high uncertainty surrounding its output gap estimates, it may well be closer to its medium-term budgetary objective in 2020. We will confirm this in spring. The overall policy message is that member states must use a fiscal toolkit to get ready for the challenging times ahead. How exactly they do that depends on the country's situation. For those countries with high level of debt, the best preparation is to reduce this debt. But for those countries that have fiscal space, they should continue to use it. Furthermore, we today decided to propose as a Council to renew the significant deviation procedure for Hungary and Romania. The two countries have not corrected their budgetary course as they had been recommended. Romania is also expected to breach the 3% of GDP reference value of the treaty already this year, with rapidly growing deficits over the following years. The country has run an expansionary policy at the time of high growth. This situation must be addressed urgently. Finally, a word on Greece. Many of us still remember the depth of the 2015 Greek crisis. I am therefore glad that today we have published an encouraging and overall positive enhanced surveillance report for Greece. The Eurogroup will discuss the report in December with a view of deciding the release of the next debt relief measures. Greece is on a course to overachieve the agreed fiscal target of 3.5% of GDP this year. This will be fifth year in a row that target is being exceeded, and according to our estimations, Greece would meet its fiscal target in 2020. Capital controls have been lifted in September, and new administration is taking important steps to tackle the large stock of non-performing loans in the banking sector. This is key for strengthening the bank's capacity to provide finance to Greek businesses and households. This work must continue. The government is also progressing with initiatives to strengthen the business environment and boost investment. Overall, Greece has taken the necessary actions to achieve its specific reform commitments for mid-2019. This is good news, and we hope that Greek authorities sustain the reform momentum and deliver on their ambitious agenda of future actions. Thank you very much. I will stop here, and Pierre will come in with more detailed picture. Thank you.